Chris DeLay, Creative Director of Introversion Software, and I'm going to demonstrate today Subversion. We would normally, sometimes in the past, we've started our talks by kind of hurling foam Darwinians at the audience, kind of target practice. It's quite cathartic. And then basically a couple of things happened. We ran out of foam Darwinians, and then after a while, people started throwing them back at us as well. And so at that point, we thought it was time, a clear message to move on from Darwinia. Quite frankly, we've seen enough of it, and get on to other things. And hence, that's why I'm here today, to show you Subversion. Subversion's theme is Mission Impossible. Now, there probably are actually some people in the audience who are young enough to believe that Mission Impossible is actually a series of fairly poor Tom Cruise movies. But it's not true. Mission Impossible is actually one of the best TV series ever made, from the 1970s, in my opinion. And it's about a sort of high-tech group of American agents that would infiltrate various Russian organizations or mafia organizations and take them down from the inside. And over 7 or 8 seasons or so, it is basically one of the cleverest and most ingenious TV series ever made. And never once in 7 or 8 seasons did any member of the Mission Impossible team wield 2 guns, one in either hand, in slow motion as they were firing at their enemies. That never happened. The TV series and the movies are quite separate. And so our inspiration for Subversion is to make kind of the ultimate high-tech heist game, with you performing Mission Impossible style feats. So, onwards. The location I'm going to demonstrate today is a bank. Now, like all banks, this bank has a lot of money in it. At the start of the game in Subversion, you are not an established organization. You don't have any resources of any kind. And you have things to do, and so for that reason, a little bit of funding would come in a little bit handy. So, although originally I mentioned Mission Impossible, straight away I'm going to deviate from that, because in Mission Impossible, everybody's lawful good, right, all the time. There's no bad guys in the Mission Impossible team, they're always wonderful. And that's not necessarily the most fun that you can have in a video game. So in this particular instance, we're going to rob this bank. Although, we're going to try and rob it without actually hurting anybody or scaring anybody. In fact, ideally, we're going to rob the bank without anybody even realizing that we're ever actually there until we're long gone. So, at the moment, you can see this is kind of a blueprint schematic of the location, and all we can actually see is the outside of the bank and our van that we've pulled up outside. So, I'm going to start straight away. I'm going to create my little team of intrepid bank robbers. We have Kieran, Terry, and Eskil. Quite distinctive names, I think you'll agree. There they are, right? Some bad motherfuckers, these guys. Now, what we're going to try and do is, so already you can see that these guys are already starting to reveal some of the location through the windows. In fact, we can actually, just by putting our guys up against the windows, we can actually already perform a little bit of early recon, take a look inside the bank, and you can see parts of the inside starting to reveal themselves. It's quite a common tactic. In this case, there's not a huge amount of danger because it's a public bank and this is a public lobby, so we're not going to get, we're not going to get any trouble. I'm using it as a demonstration to show how it's kind of like an exploration effect going on. And so for that very reason, I think probably Eskil. I'm going to send Eskil around sort of the side of the building and around the back. See if you can find any sort of back doors. It looks like there might be a back door or something over there, like any sort of sneaky entrances that might get us past a few extra layers of security. I should point out at this point what is probably already fairly obvious. Subversion is nowhere near finished. Right? This is very much in production. We're not even at the stage of like a buggy MMO beta release. Right? It's far worse than that. There's all kinds of experimental stuff in here that we're not sure about. There's nothing on here that I could point at and say that is definitely final, and that's how it's going to be. So, why would we go to these? Why would I show you something completely unfinished as we're doing? I mean, it flies against all kind of common practice, right? But the thing is that the fact that you're here today implies that you have some interest in indie games, probably indie games development. What we're showing you here is what indie game development is like at Introversion. Kind of warts and all, the kind of messy creative anarchy process that does ultimately result in games like Darwinia, but also gives people like Mark or Andy heart palpitations and stuff as the months roll by and there's no clear sign of ending. Right, so where was I? So let's send some people inside. Let's send Kieran inside. So you've noticed that there are people in this bank. There are other customers hanging around in here doing various bank-related things. You can see some cash machines over here, which might be a bit of an early target. You don't necessarily need to rob the bank vault. Right? There's money all over the place in the bank. The bank vault just happens to be the kind of gold-plated final target. But we can also see a few other security guards hanging around in the doorway. There we go. He's got a radio, and I don't quite know why he's a Kalashnikov. It's not that common to see Kalashnikovs deployed for bank defense. But like I said earlier, this is experimental, and this is the best weapon shape we had available at the time. So I know he's going to be a bit of an issue later, so I'm just keeping an eye on him. But for now, I'm just standing here looking a little bit conspicuous with my red radio on my shoulder and my large backpack. So Eskil, I'd sent Eskil around the back of the bank, hadn't I? There is a sort of rear door here. And I can tell already, because I can tell this is kind of the sort of the bank teller area and people are queuing up to sort of withdraw money and so on. I know that this is going to be a much higher security door than sort of main entrance. It's basically a rear door. But there's a keycard scanner on the doorway. I don't have any way currently to bypass a keycard scanner. So that's a no-go. It might be a useful exit later. But what is interesting is I can see what's almost certainly the telephone junction box for the whole building out the back. So all of their internet connection, all of their telephones are almost certainly running through this junction box. And so if, for example, I had a guy with me who was very skilled in electrical engineering and signals and so on, I could start analysing these telephone lines, isolate which telephones they're connected to, because they are all connected to telephones in the bank, and start redirecting 999 calls and so on, so that I can intercept and say, oh yeah, police are on the way, yeah, basically, and thereby avoid that particular problem. I also have various recon tools with me that I can use to help explore the bank further. So in this particular instance, I do have a wall scanner, which is kind of a magic infrared attached to a wall and reveal everything behind it type device. So in order to use it, I'll just basically what I need to do is stick it to the wall, and using a combination of ultrasonic and magic, it will basically reveal what's through the wall right here. So straight away I've got a view of an area that ordinarily I would not have been able to explore at this point. So straight away I can tell, okay, that's no use whatsoever. It's just a bathroom. Although actually bathrooms have a lot of use in these types of games. Because, we'll see about that, but it's a good hiding place. This room is a lot more interesting. This is some kind of server farm, lots of hardware in here, lots of control systems, lots of equipment. That's the kind of room that we kind of want to get into if you want to start monkeying around with the security systems that are inevitably going to be in this bank. But again, it's all clearly locked up behind scanners. So let's try and actually get somewhere, shall we? Let's take Kieran. Kieran's the lucky guy. So the only door in this area that leads from the public area into the kind of secret area is this locked door here with a keypad on it. Now, there's various ways that I could get through this keypad. I could blow the door off with explosives, although that would kind of give away the fact that this is a covert bank robbery happening. Alternatively, I could wait for a bank staff member to walk through the door right in front of me and then tailgate behind him. I could have also cracked the keypad. I do have a keypad cracker, but it's a pretty low security door, so no one's going to notice if I just kind of wander in behind them. So we're through to a little bit of a security area, and you can see that the cash machines, we can see the back of the cash machines already visible, so our first target is obvious. We don't really want to be, we're already in the secure area, right? You can tell from the yellow outline on the floor that this is now a secure area. If anybody catches us in this area, then they're going to either throw us out or call the police or something. So in order to combat that, we need to, well, thankfully Kieran's pretty good at sort of talking COD shit to people and bullshitting. And so by switching on his kind of incognito, fast-talking trick, he'll just make himself look unsuspicious to anybody that happens to see him. And you can see that we can now, as long as we're running this, and as long as we're in a relatively low security area, nobody will really pay too much attention to us, because, you know, we're doing our fast-talking, we're doing our whistling, and it's all good as far as they're concerned. Now we do, however, we know there is a security guard wandering around, and he's likely to be a little bit more suspicious of us. So in fact, I'm actually just going to get out of his way, and he does have a Kalashnikov. As I said earlier, that is quite unusual, but he does have it. Yeah, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. It worked. Right. That's good. So what we're going to do to stop that from happening again, there's a camera on the wall here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to attach a hardware camera tap to this camera. Let's see, where is it? Camera bug. So I'm going to attach a camera bug to this camera, and thereby tap that camera feed, so that from now on I can see whatever that camera can see. Let's stick it on the wall. Okay. So now that camera is tapped and under my control, whenever it switches on, you notice how as the camera goes off, we lose sight of this room. People start to fade out, you gradually lose track of them, and you don't know who's in there anymore. And then the camera switches back on, and you've got them back again, so you know they're there. So using that trick, we know we can be certain that we're not going to get disturbed by any security guards. Right, so onwards. We have here a small key lock, pretty easy to get past. I'm going to drill it. There we go. I brought a drill with me. I've got quite a lot of stuff in this backpack. It's a pretty big backpack. I'm going to fire those up and start. Oh. Nothing to see here. That's good. Right. Onwards. I didn't notice anything. Nothing. In Mission Impossible, every now and then, they have these amazing drills, and they're wrapped up in like what looks like about an inch of foam rubber, and they make absolutely no sound. They can be drilling through 6 inches of solid concrete, and they make no sound whatsoever. It's brilliant, and that's basically one of those magic drills. That's what that is there. Right, so well, we've made it into this area, so let's go nuts. There we go, $6,000, and that one too. Okay, it's a bit more money. These cash machines are all going to be blinking empty now. There we go, $18,000. That was easy, wasn't it? I might just actually close that door now. Actually, I won't bother. Okay, so next room then. So still nobody's. They're all turned away from me, and I'm doing my whistling thing. So you can see some of the telephones that these are clearly wired out to that junction box that I was telling you about at the back. There are some cash registers here, but it's a bit blatant. If I try and open those cash registers, these staff are permanently here. They will obviously get a bit suspicious if I start putting all the money in my pocket. So I guess we probably won't do that. Yeah, I don't think so. So what I think we'll do is we'll try and go through. Right, so I can see a little bit further around now. This is clearly the secure area. I mean, you can see there's kind of jail bars and so on. So let's head around there and try and make it as far as the bank vault. Alright, now straight away, the floor, the outline of the floor in this area is red, which means this is a higher security area. And you'll notice also that our whistling, our incognito, is actually gone red as well, which means that it's not actually working anymore. In fact, this guard is definitely looking quite suspicious now. So we're going to have to do something about that. I still don't actually want to kill anybody. I'm still hoping for a bit of a covert mission, so I'm going to get out my tranquilizer gun. There it is. And I'm going to let him have it. Let's see. That'll do. I should probably mention that this interface really is not going to be like this. This is like, it's there so that we have all the verbs of the game available to us, but there's going to be something much more streamlined which we haven't found yet. Probably involving targeting them directly in the world, kind of Fallout 3 style. But for now, it's like a pop. Alright, so let's let him eat tranquilizer dart. There we go, he's been tranquilized. He looks a bit more injured than I was expecting. So that's clearly a bit suspicious. So I'm also going to drag his unconscious body into his bathroom so no one actually notices that I have tranquilized this poor chap. There we go, that's probably enough. Alright, good. Yeah, so he'll be asleep for quite a while. I actually shot him more than once, I think. So he's not waking up for a while, which is good news. I may as well stop all this fast talk nonsense because it's not working in this area. So this is the so here we go. We found the actual vault door now. So we know the big witches are going to be behind this vault door. So we've got another key lock here, which I'm going to try and drill out. Let's get that in action. Here we go. This is a strong key lock, so it might take a little bit longer. So I'm just going to bring Eskel's actually not doing very much around here, so I'm going to bring him into the lobby. We might actually need him in a second to help unload what will hopefully be quite a lot of money from the vault. Okay, so this lock is basically so strong that we can't actually drill it out successfully. No matter how long we stand here and keep drilling, it's not going to open. So let's give that a rest. The alternative way to get through this door, I still don't want to kind of blow anything up or any crap like that. The alternative way is that somebody in this bank definitely has a key to this lock. So let's go back to the sort of staff area and try and find the guy that has the key to that lock, and then find a way to make him open it for us. Alright, so we've got these staff members here. So this is the guy, the bank manager, right? He's clearly got the key right there. It's unfortunate he's the bank manager because he's not going to be tricked into opening the bank vault for us, because he's not your sort of. There are various levels of intelligence in the people in the world, with the civilians at the lowest and the guards at the most suspicious. The bank manager is not going to say, yeah, I'll open the vault for you, sure. So we're going to have to force him, basically. So at this point, I think it's time to get a little bit ugly and get out our own AK-47 and turn on our intimidation. Alright, basically. So he's going to stand here and scrap anybody around him. Basically, we'll blow your head off unless you do what I tell you. These guys will gradually. Yeah, there we go. So they're gradually going to surrender to us. Now, at this point, we're making a bit of a ruckus at this point. So I think at the same time, back in the lobby, we don't really want anybody in here sort of calling the police on their mobile phone or anything. So let's get Eskel and Terry to try and sort of lock down everyone in the lobby area as well. So same thing here. Gun out, intimidate. Go. Gun out and intimidate. Right, so these guys are all going to be. So civilians are generally pretty cowardly, so they will do as we told. They will all surrender. Although that guy is a little bit of a worry. It's not entirely clear what he's going to do. So the guards, there's a little bit of randomness about it. You don't always know whether the guards are going to make a decision to come at you or surrender because they are clearly in trouble. Let's bring out the guy in. What's he doing? Alright, so that looks like everything's under control, doesn't it? Same thing for you. Now, once these guys are intimidated, we can actually select any one of these people in this area and give them orders directly. Like, go over there, move over there, you're under my control now. And so using that trick, I can move everybody into the same area, right, and thereby keep them under better control. Because you want them all in one area, because the further away they are from your guys that are doing the intimidation, the less likely they are, the more likely they are to kind of panic and run off and try and call the police or something. He's looking quite hostile now, isn't he? He's got the red around his feet kind of means that he's pretty hostile. I have a sneaky feeling that as soon as I actually go somewhere else, he's going to light my guys up. Alright, I'm not taking any chances, basically. Let's see, I don't actually. No. Yeah? No. I'm gonna, no. I think he doesn't deserve that. I'll just give him one in the leg. There we go. A little warning shot. Right? Actually, you know what? He's actually still armed, So I think if I shoot him in the hands, he'll drop what he's carrying. So let's let him have some of that as well. There we go. So he's dropped his gun. That's probably enough, isn't it? still hasn't surrendered though, that's the thing, right? I don't know why. He should have his hands up by now, but he's just not surrendering. He's looking at me like, yeah. Alright, well he's no danger, so I'm going to let him stay there. Alright, so you can see by now these civilians are pretty much, yeah, they're on side now, they're not going to be a danger anymore. Alright, so let's, so the same thing applies in here then. The good old bank manager, he has the cage key. So I'm going to take him and use him to open this secure area that previously you couldn't get through to. And I'm going to send Kieran through with him as well. Yeah, this way, this way. Yeah, come on. I just need reminding. Okay, so send him through. There we go. Cage door's open. My guy's in. We're done with him, so I'll just send him back to the staff area. You don't actually mind what he does now. Let's see, everything's still looking pretty. Jesus Christ. For goodness sake. Right. All he had to do was put his hands up. Alright. So we're through to the bank vault area, so it's definitely final stages now. Only one thing's left, which is this absolutely massive, great big vault door with this tumbler lock on it. Now, let's see, let's get rid of that. No need for any of that intimidation anymore. So this is basically a safe tumbler, and the way to crack this is to use a sort of very, very fine, high fidelity microphone device, which has this brilliant shape that I modelled myself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to the tumbler lock. And it's a very high-powered microphone, so what it'll actually do is it'll play any sound that comes from the inside of the vault mechanism. So by attaching it to the vault, about here, let's get a bit closer. Oh no, don't drop it. It's a high-stress job robbing a bank. Alright, so what was I saying? I was saying I was going to use this safe cracker and attach it to this. Alright, now the reason why that's good is that when I now control this tumbler, I can now see the sort of audio feed of what's going on as I turn the tumbler. So each time I turn it, there'll be a little bleep in volume, right? Just a little kind of, take that down a bit. Let's turn it again. So a little bit of a bump in volume each time it sort of goes click. Okay? And then when it actually, so that's the right number. So whenever it actually clicks into the right number, one of the pins inside the tumbler drops down and makes a louder noise. So we know the first digit is definitely 3. So as I turn each one of these dials, there we go, that's the next one, 39. This is quite an easy tumbler because it's only got 10 digits. I mean, some of them, in reality, have like 50 digits or something, and that would obviously take quite a bit longer. That's definitely the next one. 395. It doesn't actually work yet, but I personally want it to have it so that this thing is actually recording all the sound around you at massively maximized volume as well. So if somebody does fire a gun while you're doing this, your guy will kind of be permanently deafened because he's listening to this audio device and he's just got this enormous gunshot through it. Alright, that's the code, 3950. So we've unlocked the vault. So let's go in. It's all good. Okay, it's not all good. It's good news and bad news. Okay, basically. The bad news is we were a bit hesitant, we were a bit rushed when we came in and didn't actually pay attention to the laser tripwires that are in the doorway, which tripped the master alarm, and now the police are going to arrive in 1 minute 42, which isn't very long at all. But the good news is there's absolutely tons of wongo on this table, gold bars and cash registers and so on. So my guy Kieran is just going to stuff all that into his backpack automatically, and I think it's probably time for us to be making a pretty sharp exit. Oh dear God. Jesus. Should I put him out of his misery? Yes or no? Should I kill him? No. They're definitely resounding no. It was meant to be a peaceful mission. Alright, so Kieran's got all the gold from the vault, and we've got a clear. Oh, yeah. police are 1 minute away now, so it's getting a little bit hair-raising, and I've just realised, because I tailgated somebody through that door, instead of cracking it, I actually don't know the key code. This guy has a key. It's the wrong key. No, he has a key. Right, so these guys in here, okay, alright, no, that's not how I do it. I'm not panicking. So, Terry, right, Terry's going to crack this keypad. Right. I need to be good now. Use with, there we go. Right, so we go, cracking the keypad. 5 seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's just typical. 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's go. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Right, that's it. So, okay. I'm pausing the game quite a lot now. You can pause the game at any point by pressing space. It's quite a good thing to do if you kind of need to get things done quickly and reliably. So I'm just going to make
so cheating.
Sharp exit, also otherwise known as cheating. So I'm going to leave the guy. So I see you. All you have to do is put your hands up. I did warn you. Right, yeah, you can keep looking. There we go. And that's it, right? Our guys are made to the van. With 5 seconds left. At this point, if we had developed further, police cars would be screaming in, the sirens would be coming down as, and we would get in the van and no doubt begin what would be an awesome chase scene. But this is actually the end of this demo. Successfully got away with $4.2 million on the bank with 5 seconds to spare.